Hello, happy Monday. I'm back. Welcome. Thanks for being here with me tonight. It's Labor Day, so maybe some of you are off enjoying yourselves. But for those of you who are here, thank you. Welcome to Fireside Chat with Kimberly. Thank you to Revolution Gelato, the sponsor for this week's talks. Prize packs for this month's contest have been graciously donated by Hodo Foods, Crafters Organics, Follow Your Heart, Cinnaholic, Orgain, Terra Seed, and Revolution Gelato. I invite my viewers to enter the monthly contest at virtualvegfest.com and click on the contest tab for details. Entering is super easy just by liking and or subscribing to our social media and Virtual Veg Fest YouTube channel. You're entered to win one of 7 prize packs. We really want you to subscribe to the Virtual Veg Fest YouTube, so we are continuing to do 25 entries just for subscribing through the contest link. You can support our sponsors as well by liking their social media. So hi, welcome. As always, let me know where you're watching from, and if you have any questions. They always come to Fireside Chat with an idea, with a topic to talk about, but the reason I'm here is for you. So if you have any vegan lifestyle related questions that you would like to ask, post them in the chat, in the comments, let me know, and I will be happy to address them for you. So tonight I thought I would talk about kind of some food labeling, and that can be pretty confusing, and that is the labeling of cage-free, free-range, and humanely raised. What do these mean? I think what we are expected to think they mean, and what we are expected to feel when we hear these words is like we're supposed to feel good about it and motivated to purchase things that are labeled with these words because it's a good thing. That's what we're expected to feel. That's what the companies that use these words and label their products with these words want you to think, that you're being a responsible consumer by purchasing such things. Welcome, Diane. Thanks for being here. Diane is coming to us from New Jersey. So let's start with cage-free. So cage-free means kind of just what it sounds like. It means that there are no cages. It is literally free of cages. So let's take a step back. What are the cages that they are free from? And we're talking about chickens, by the way. I wasn't clear there. So we're talking about chickens in a cage-free environment. But chickens in cages they're housed in these very long, super long, almost like ranch style buildings. And within that building are rows and rows of cages. They're called battery cages. The cages are stacked on top of each other, and then there is usually kind of like a little, almost like a little slide in front to catch the eggs. As they're laid, they'll fall down into the slide, and then the workers can pick them up. So that's what a battery cage is. But guess what? There's not one chicken per cage. No. By the way, the cages themselves, battery cages, are about the size of a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So think back to when you were in school. Maybe you're in school now. Pick up a notebook, check out the size of that paper. And there isn't just one chicken living in this cage. They stuff multiple chickens inside these cages. When people found out about that seemed a little intense. That seemed a little bit harsh. Why are the chickens that people are planning to eat being treated this way? Why are they being kept in these cages? So the industry thought, well, how do we make people feel better about that? What we're going to do is we're going to give them a cage-free environment. So they're getting rid of the cages. They're still in these buildings, these long buildings. But now, instead of being housed in cages, the chickens are living on the floor. Does that sound better? You tell me. The chickens now are still stuffed, as many chickens as can fit in this space. They live on the floor amongst each other. That means that they can be trampled. Chickens that are sick and can't get to feed stations. There isn't just food everywhere. It's not like when a chicken lives their normal chicken life outside and they can find bugs in the ground and things like that. That's not what this is. They're on a hard surface, very often concrete, and there are water and food stations. So they have to be able to get to the water and food stations. Do you know why chicken breasts are so large? Because chickens are given all kinds of steroids and things to puff them up, to make them bigger. Some of those chickens are so heavy that they can't walk and their feet won't move. So they can't get to that food station. They can't get to that water station. What happens when chickens are frustrated? They'll peck each other. This happens when they're in cages as well, by the way. And they can peck each other to death. They can peck each other to the point where they are suffering from severe wounds that will, in an environment like I've been describing, will kill them. So what does that mean? That means for the industry, that's lost profit. How do you fix that? The industry has an answer for that too. And what they do is they'll sear the beak off of each chicken. The chickens are not anesthetized, they feel it, and the point of their beak is seared right off. So now they can't peck at each other. Well, that sounds good to the industry. That means they can't harm one another. They're not going to lose any money by the chickens being frustrated. That also means that the chicken beaks very often hurt, and it's hard for them to eat. Some of them will not eat because it hurts so much. That means that the chicken is likely going to die. When a worker comes in to collect a chicken from a cage, they'll grab them by the legs and yank them out. When they come in to collect them from the floor, they walk in and they still grab as many chickens as they can by the legs from the floor. Sometimes chickens will get trampled by the workers. Sometimes they'll get hit by a chicken being picked up because they're not being gentle, right? So there's all kinds of things that can happen within this cage-free environment that is still harming the chickens. It's still cruel to the chickens. So is cage-free really a label that makes you want to buy something? I think it's a label that is supposed to make us feel good, but doesn't mean what we want it to mean. Let's say hello. Hi, Richard. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Always happy to have you here. So next, we'll go over to free range. What does free range mean? Well, free range is here's what I think they want us to think, is that free range means that the chickens, the cows, the pigs, the sheep, the goats, they're all just out in grass and they're happy and they're frolicking and they're having a great time, and they feel the warm sun and they feel happy and loved because they're out. They're living as they should. Well, that's not really the case either. Chickens are the only animals where free range is regulated. And here's what that means. What it means for a chicken is that there is at least one opening. So here's the minimum. And let's be honest, the industry is going for the minimum because it's all about profit. These animals are not sentient beings as far as the industry is concerned. They are commodities. It's important to remember that. So they need to have one small access point. Usually it's a very small door because the industry also doesn't want wild animals sneaking into the chicken coop when they have that space open and then risk losing all of the chickens within the building. So it's a small. Thanks, Helene. Let's see what Helene has to say. Let's not forget there's well over 100,000 chickens in a cage-free warehouse, plus free-range chickens are raised the same way. Exactly. Thank you, Helene. 100,000 chickens. Just let that sink in for a second. Thank you so much. So free range They have this tiny access point. They're living, just as Helene pointed out, exactly the same way that a cage-free chicken is living. They're on that floor in that warehouse, being, they're in a large number of chickens all smushed together, just trying to make it through the day, trying to get to their water stations, get to the food stations, and they are only required to have a few minutes outside. So if we're looking at 100,000 chickens inside this warehouse, one access point, they only need a few minutes per the requirement of being called a free range farm. They only have to let them out for a few minutes. So let's think about that. Are these workers who are being pushed to produce and pushed to get out as many animals and produce as many animals as they can every single day, are they going to take the time to make sure this group of chickens gets outside for a few minutes, bring them in, put out this set of chickens? Unlikely, right? Ah, right. And there's no one to clean up. Those near the access door get to go outside. Right. What about those chickens in the back corner? What about those chickens I mentioned before that are so obese from the medications that they've been given that they can't walk? Not only can they not get themselves to the door, they couldn't fit through it. How many of those chickens don't have the opportunity to be outside for a moment because they've been pumped so full of steroids and medications that make them huge, because that's what the industry has determined consumers want. Show them they're getting more for their money. So let's make these chickens as big as we can. That's the minimum requirement. And they're not, it's very, I haven't been inside a warehouse. However, I think it's pretty clear if we think about what the motivation is, and that the company is looking to make as much money as possible. I think that we can safely assume here that every one of those 100,000 chickens in that warehouse is not getting outside. Probably not in their whole life, their 3-month life or whatever it is. They're still babies when they're murdered, right? Thanks, Helene. That's a good qualifier that I had missed. So we were talking about the egg-laying hens with the cages being taken out of the cages, put into these warehouses to live in a cage-free environment. Broiler chickens are oh, are they? Do they always? Oh, that makes sense, right? Okay, so yeah, let me just backtrack here. Thank you, Helene, for qualifying that. So broiler chickens, and what that means is these are the chickens that people are eating their flesh. Egg-laying hens are the ones that are in cages. Thank you. All right. So now let's move to humanely raised. What does that mean? What does it mean to be humanely raised? Do you know? What I've found, because I didn't know either, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Those words don't connect in my brain. It's not a regulated term, and it's just, the the brief life that these animals live. They're saying humanely raised, like it's like that farmer that's like, I love my animals, and they do get outside. My cows will be outside for 2 hours a day, or they get grass for 2 hours a day. And Helene, you are jumping right ahead. Thank you. It is frustrating. Humanely raised. How can anything be humane when they're being raised to be killed? And that was the final point that I was getting to here, is that no matter what, if they are in a standard factory farm setting, if they are in a cage-free environment, if the animal packaging of the animal flesh is labeled free range, if it says humanely raised, there's nothing humane, kind, compassionate, considerate about taking the life of someone who wants to live. So for me, we can pretty up these labels as much as we want. The industry can make those billboards of happy cows frolicking in the grass, and they can say that their animals are loved and treated so well, treated better than their kids before they're killed. The other truth is that these animals are sent to slaughter. They aren't killed where they are raised. They are loaded into trucks. And I'm sure many of us have seen these trucks. They have very large openings, and that means that it is not temperature regulated. Why would it be, right? We're at the end here. The industry is not worried um, about the last few hours of these animals' lives. So they're being trucked in the freezing cold. They're being trucked in the sweltering heat. They haven't had water or food in hours by the time they arrive at the slaughterhouse. Exactly. There's no love is not looking them in the eyes when slaughtering them. So we can they can use these labels all they want. But no matter how the food in the grocery store is labeled, no matter what the industry is saying about how the animals have been raised, they all meet that same violent end. And they don't want to. And there isn't any kindness shown to them because they are viewed as a commodity. And in this environment, and I'm not going to get into this now, so I think this is going to be another topic for another show. The people who are doing this work are traumatized too. There is so much violence on that slaughterhouse floor. There's so much violence as the animals are led to those final seconds of their life. It is an awful, terrifying place. So please, next time you're in the grocery store, understand what these phrases mean. Cage free, free range, humanely raised. They don't they don't carry weight. What does carry weight is eating more vegan options, is going vegan for the animals, for the planet, for your health. I've said it almost every episode. Being vegan is the most beautiful decision I've ever made in my whole life. And I just had a birthday, so I'm another year older. And so I've been here a little while. You can do it. The options are incredible. Every day I see something new and it blows my mind how easy it is to be vegan. I know that there are certain areas in this country specifically, and if I have international viewers, maybe where you live, or maybe it doesn't feel that easy. Maybe you're bumping up against things like food deserts. I understand that. But for the majority of us, especially here in the US, in the around the major cities, uh, it can be done. And you don't have to buy the vegan substitutes. I mean, they're awesome, they're so good, but you don't need that. You can live a healthy, happy, cruelty-free life just living on vegetables, beans, grains, seeds, nuts. It is amazing. I promise you. I promise you that. If you need help, let me know. That's why I'm here. Ask me questions. I'm here every Monday. Send me a message. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Did You Bring the Hummus? You can go to my website, didyouBringTheHummus.com, and you can send me a message that way. I can work with you one-on-one. You can come back here every Monday, ask me more questions. Let's do it. You deserve that beautiful life. And the animals deserve to be loved. And that's how we can do it. So let's go. Join me. I'll be back here next Monday. Thank you, Diane. Did I totally miss fruits and vegetables? I was just so in it, and I totally missed the two focused items there. Thank you, Diane. I really appreciate that. Well, it's also really fun to be a vegan, and we can be silly. We can have a great time. So seriously, send me questions. Come back here Monday. I can't wait to see you. Let's do it. You can do it. Believe in you. All right, that's it.